Live from WOWT, this is a First Alert 6 weather day.
And good afternoon, everyone. Nick Weig here with you on this First Alert Weather Day. We are coming back on streaming as well as our other platforms this afternoon because we have a new severe thunderstorm warning now in the western part of our viewing area as another cell. You may have heard Rusty Lord telling you during our 11 o'clock newscast that we were keeping an eye out on, and that is in fact the case. So let's go ahead and take you out live to First Alert Radar for that new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued. There you see in the Henderson area, right on a path towards York. This storm does have the potential of producing some strong damaging winds as well as some hail in excess of 1 inch in diameter. The severe thunderstorm warning just issued a short time ago. Let's go ahead and take you out live now to one of the cameras in that area. This is I'll go ahead and get this zoomed in for you a little bit. So it's a little bit, this is Interstate 80 near Henderson, where we did just see some pretty torrential rainfall falling in this area. No indication of any hail where this camera was, but we did see traffic slow down a little bit. Again, this is not Nebraska City. This is near Henderson, near where that severe thunderstorm warning is now in effect. You can still see the rain falling there in the foreground of the image as the rain and possibly some small hail is falling in this portion of Interstate 80. Obviously, anywhere the severe thunderstorm is tracking, especially along I-80, that is going to leave vehicles susceptible to those hailstones. Certainly 1 inch diameter hail, or about the width of a quarter, is large enough to potentially crack some windshields and put some dings and dents into your vehicle. So that severe thunderstorm warning does continue. Let's get you the information on that warning here now, which was just issued a short time ago. Severe thunderstorm warning. This is for portions of Hamilton and York counties until 12:45 this afternoon, so about another 23 minutes or so. Right now, the primary threat is for 1 inch diameter hail. Right now, wind speeds are expected to remain below severe limits. Some of the cities impacted by this warning include Bradshaw, Hampton, Henderson, and of course York. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Hamilton and York counties until 12:45 this afternoon. Let's take a closer look at this cell. We've been watching it. We'll throw this in motion here real quick, and you can see that it has been kind of on a steady track here to the north and east at about 40 miles per hour right now. And earlier we saw a better defined hail core, but still one showing up there on the radar. We're going to go ahead and pinpoint that for you and get an idea of what may be going on inside. And yeah, we do see just a small pocket of hail that may be falling in the Bradshaw area. Certainly not a large area of potential hail. Right now, the radar is likely indicating this below severe limits. Yes, it is. But it is possible that we may see a bit of a cycling here as that storm has weakened somewhat and may kind of pick back up. And that's exactly what we saw with the thunderstorms late last night, as they would kind of cycle and regenerate and reinvigorize their hail cores as they were pushing off to the north and east. That's what we're seeing again as the severe thunderstorm does push through the Bradshaw and York areas right now. Now, right now, we do not have any watches in effect for the First Alert 6 viewing area. The Storm Prediction Center is monitoring most of our area, in fact, areas along and east of these severe thunderstorms for the potential of issuing a watch. Right now, they don't believe that is necessary, but they do continue to monitor this area. We do still have a slight risk of severe weather for the central and eastern parts of our viewing area. This does include the Omaha metro area as well as Tacoma, which already saw some severe hail with thunderstorms that moved through earlier this morning. Plattsmouth, Nebraska City, and points to the east under that slight risk. But where this severe thunderstorm is right now over by York, that is still a marginal or possible risk for severe weather, and that is in fact coming true right now as these storms continue to push off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. We'll go ahead and put this in motion for you. You see that is the only cell to our west right now, kind of weakening right now, but we have seen these cells kind of weaken, regenerate in that cycle. And then we see the storm now up by Carroll exiting the area, capable or has a history of producing extremely large hail and also some strong wind gusts with that storm. Here's a wider look at some of the lighter showers and thunderstorms that are kind of propagating across the area, especially up towards Norfolk, Sioux City, and we're going to be monitoring this area. There's a lot of questions what is going to happen this afternoon because we're getting a lot of cloud cover across Nebraska and Iowa, especially because of these morning thunderstorms that have moved through the area. And so there's a real question about what exactly we may or may not see, but the potential for severe weather does exist and continues to exist for the foreseeable future. And we're going to be monitoring that, especially before 6 o'clock for the Omaha metro area. Hopefully we can get this stuff through earlier than that. But we're going to have to continue to monitor this thunderstorm. Again, severe thunderstorm warning continues until 12:45 this afternoon. This will impact the community of York. It is the potential hail core now passing over the Bradshaw area. I want to go ahead and throw in a quick check of the wind speeds in here, and we are getting some indications of some stronger wind gusts in the Henderson area. Not really any rotation to worry about, but certainly some potentially stronger wind gusts in the Henderson area right now. Maybe approaching 60 miles per hour, but that again is not at the ground. That is up in aloft in the atmosphere. So right now, no indications that those stronger wind gusts have reached the surface, but the potential's still there as the storm continues to move off to the northeast. I'm going to take a look here and see if we can find any other cameras in this area. This is now just passing north of Interstate 80. And in fact, to give you an example of that, let's go back live now to the camera near Henderson that we showed you earlier. And there you see the darker clouds off to the distance, but now the sun is back out after this thunderstorm has moved through the Henderson area. We saw some pretty intense rainfall earlier, but now it is all over. It has moved off to the north, and the sun is back out. If we get more sunshine, especially east of these thunderstorms, that is going to lead to more instability and the greater potential that we could see additional severe weather later this afternoon across the First Alert 6 viewing area, as well as the Omaha metro area. Which it does remain under a slight risk for severe weather this afternoon. Back out live now to First Alert Radar as we're continuing to monitor this severe thunderstorm pushing through the Bradshaw into the York areas right now. This is where we're monitoring any additional development from this thunderstorm or any others that may decide to start firing up. But so far, much like the storm that has already passed through now in the Carroll area, up in western Iowa, which still shows a pretty intense hail core in that right now. Not too concerned about the winds, but I want to keep an eye out on the hail core on this as it's exiting our area, and still an extremely large hail core present on radar imagery. Right now, the radar is estimating at least 2-inch diameter hail on the ground. The radar is actually estimating quite a bit stronger hail embedded in this storm. In fact, if we switch over to the hail detection, let me see if we can get that. Yeah, it is estimating over 3-inch diameter hail aloft in this thunderstorm near Carroll. So anybody in the Carroll area and Highway 30 over to Ralston, this is a very significant hail-producing storm that has a history of producing extremely large hail, capable of producing a lot of damage, both to property and homes in that area. This has maintained a significant hail core now for some time, and that continues to push through the Carroll area and now going right along Highway 30 heading for Ralston. So a significant hail core. There you see in the new scan, it's good news that it's dropped from 3.3 to 2.1 on the radar, but my concern with that is generally that happens when the storm system has actually weakened a bit because it drops some large hail. And so that would be my concern with this storm, again, in the Carroll area in western Iowa. We're also monitoring the severe thunderstorm warning now in the western portion of our viewing area. We'll go ahead and back out now on our loop, and you see the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the York area right now. We'll zoom in on that one here for you. And right now, the potential hail core looks to be just west of York. Hopefully, it'll be passing that community to the north, but should be passing along Highway 81 between York and Benedict here in the next few minutes. So anybody traveling that area, it might be a good idea to seek shelter and in case there is some hail being produced in this storm right now. I'm also going to check and see if we have any cameras available on our Iowa storm that has produced all of that large hail this morning. As it begins to move into some more populated areas, we might have a camera or two from the Iowa Department of Transportation honed in on that. And I don't see any live video cameras available in the Carroll area, unfortunately. So no cameras on that hail-producing storm, but we will continue to keep an eye on that as it begins to exit our area and into central Iowa, but still producing a very volatile hail core. Right now, we're beginning to turn our attention back to the west for this new severe thunderstorm warning that is now in effect. And you see there the heaviest portion of that cell right in between York and Bradshaw right now. This severe thunderstorm warning will continue for about another 15 minutes for this area. These are relatively fast-moving storms. Looks like we do have an update from the National Weather Service. Severe thunderstorm warning does remain in effect until 12:45. Severe thunderstorm located over Bradshaw, 7 miles west of York, still moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Right now, no major concerns for strong damaging winds, just that potential for some quarter-sized hail, or about 1 inch in diameter. This severe thunderstorm is approaching the York area right now. Anyone in this area is urged to seek shelter, as this could be producing some damaging hailstones, especially in that those shades of darker red and purple that you see in the middle of your screen. We'll go ahead and switch over again to our hail mode here and see if we can make out any indication of some strengthening hail. And certainly not the hail core that we're seeing up in northwest Iowa right now, but still the potential for some severe hail in that area. Right now, radar detecting just above half-inch diameter hail, roughly pea-sized or marble-sized hail. So right now, the good news is we're not seeing that severe hail on radar. Now, that doesn't mean it's not hitting the ground. These hail cores do fluctuate a lot, as we've seen earlier this morning with the storm now impacting the Carroll area. But we're going to have to keep an eye on this as this continues to move off to the northeast and further into our viewing area at about 40 miles per hour this afternoon. We're also right in between a couple of radar sites between Omaha and Hastings on this warning, so we're going to see kind of the radar shift in between scans. Taking a look at the scan from Omaha, showing us a very similar hail core compared to Hastings right now, as the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for about another 10 minutes. You can see the heaviest portion of this storm approaching the edge of that warning. We have not heard yet from the National Weather Service whether or not they will whether or not they're going to extend this warning or they're going to let it expire. We have not, I believe, received any reports confirming any large hail. No, that report up by Polk is from earlier this morning, so no, we do not have any updated reports from the National Weather Service or area storm spotters of any actual severe hail falling in this. So not clear yet whether or not the Weather Service is going to continue this warning or if they're just going to let it expire. But obviously, if you're in the Benedict, York, and then later on here in a few minutes, the Gresham area, these are areas that you need to be aware that there is a potential for some large damaging hail to fall in the next 10 to 15 minutes. We are planning to continue our coverage this afternoon as the threat for severe weather will stretch through the afternoon into the evening as well as in the evening rush hour. We're going to be monitoring the potential slight risk still exists for areas of the Omaha Metro and points to the east for the rest of this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and back out here a second. We do have a new severe thunderstorm watch that has now been issued. We'll go ahead and get the information on this here for you. Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm watch. This will be in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. This does include several counties here in Nebraska, including Burt, Butler, Cass, Colfax, Dodge, Douglas County in the Omaha Metro, Lancaster, Sarpy, Saunders, Seward, and Washington counties. And as you can see, this watch does stretch into some of our western Iowa counties as well. So severe thunderstorm watch now in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. Back now to First Alert Radar as we're monitoring the severe thunderstorm warning in the York area, now set to expire in about 10 minutes. Still monitoring this for potential redevelopment and whether or not the National Weather Service is going to extend this warning or just let it expire. Okay, so we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued east of York. We'll get that information here for you shortly, as this is the remaining severe thunderstorm warning in our area. Severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for York County. This includes the communities of Gresham and Waco until 1 o'clock this afternoon, so very short severe thunderstorm warning. This will again remain in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon, so about another 20 minutes as the storm continues to push off to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Right now, no concerns about any strong damaging winds, but that can change. And the main concern right now is with the ongoing threat of some quarter-sized hail. That's about 1 inch in diameter falling with this thunderstorm. So severe thunderstorm warning now extended for York County, including the communities of Gresham, you see there in the upper portion of your screen, and Waco until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Zeta over on Facebook asks, is it going to go to Council Bluffs? Well, it's possible. This particular storm, no, but we are monitoring the potential for additional thunderstorm development this afternoon. We've been talking about a slight risk for the Omaha metro area and points to the east, and now we do have this new severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued until 7 o'clock this evening for the counties you see shaded in yellow. This does include the Omaha metro area, including Council Bluffs, as well as Blair, Fremont, Wahoo, Lincoln, Plattsmouth, Atlantic, Harlan, the Tacoma area, and the Denison and Carroll areas, which have already been hit very hard by some large hail this morning. We're also seeing, that is not the view I wanted. Let's move that up. There you go. We're also seeing, especially with the Carroll storm, that has not only a history of producing a lot of large hail, producing a lot of prolific lightning as well. And that is something we're keeping an eye on. And as we go ahead and put the watch back on here, you can see the motion of these storms. The Carroll storm still producing hail upwards of 2 inches in diameter. That's about the size of an egg, to give you an idea of how big that is. And that can clearly do damage, significant damage to property and vehicles that are left outside in the elements. Savannah over on Facebook asking about the Omaha area. Yeah, as we were talking about, the same goes with the Council Bluffs area. We have this severe thunderstorm watch now in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. We are monitoring this one severe storm to our west that will likely go north of the Omaha metro area, but we're monitoring the potential of additional severe thunderstorm development over the next several hours, and that's why you see that severe thunderstorm watch now in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. Let's go back in now to the York area as the severe thunderstorm is now exiting that community right now, heading for Highway 69 and the Gresham area. So if you're in the greater Gresham area right now, you need to be seeking shelter, as this does have the potential to produce some significant hail over the next 20 minutes or so in your area. The severe thunderstorm warning for the Gresham area in York County will remain in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon, so about another 20 minutes. I'm going to check back and see if we've got any cameras in that area that might give us a view of what's going on inside the storm. So we continue to monitor this severe thunderstorm warning heading for the Gresham area. And right now we don't have any cameras that we can access in that area, but this is continuing to push off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Right now, it doesn't look like it has a very potent hail core, but that can change pretty quickly, as these storms tend to be, if they're able to maintain intensity this long, which they already have, they do tend to kind of cycle in their intensity. They kind of weaken a little bit as they drop some hail to the ground, and then they kind of regenerate, provided that the atmosphere out ahead of it is unstable. And there has been some question marks about that this afternoon, because we've had all of this cloud cover across the area from the overnight and early morning thunderstorms, whether or not we're unstable enough. But one area of concern is to the south of these storms. We have seen some clearing and some sunshine, which is going to continue to build that instability, especially south of these existing thunderstorms, maybe along and south of I-80. And that is where we could see additional thunderstorm development later this afternoon. And as we mentioned, a severe thunderstorm watch is now in effect until 7 o'clock this afternoon for the counties you see shaded in yellow, as this one thunderstorm continues to progress from York and points to the northeast, and we are monitoring the potential for additional thunderstorm development between now and, unfortunately, the evening rush. Right now, we're not seeing an awful lot of lightning in our storm over in the York area. A very small, more compact system, whereas we have this much larger storm system in the Carroll area now having exited our viewing area. But that storm has a history of producing some very large hail and likely producing a lot of damage in areas that were impacted earlier this morning as it passed through the northern part of the First Alert 6 viewing area. But again, right now, our focus is beginning to turn back to the west for round 2, and whether or not it will expand beyond the current severe thunderstorm warning in York County, now set to expire in about 15 minutes. As we zoom back out here, you see we do have, this is really the main show in town right now, is that there is an additional severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued for portions of central and northern Iowa because of the storm that is now exiting our area. And just some light showers and thunderstorms further to our northwest in the Norfolk area. Not a major concern there, is that the air is much more stable up there. And as we take a look to our west, over towards the North Platte area, there is a freeze watch in effect for portions of central Nebraska as temperatures are expected to crash behind the storm system. We shouldn't be getting that cold here in the metro area. We could see later this week some patchy frost as some lows get down back into the 30s, but highs should remain in at least the 50s, if not warmer. And so no concern for a hard freeze. But later this week and into the weekend, we may have to watch out if you have any sensitive plants outside. We will be dipping below 55 degrees, and that could be a problem for some plants, especially if we get down to that area where we could develop some frost on some grassy surfaces. All right, let's go back out live to First Alert Radar as we're monitoring the storm. Again, exiting the York area, now bearing down on Gresham, Utica as well. We'll see if we're seeing any indications of a hail core in this now. It looked pretty weak a short time ago, but again, that does tend to change. And the good news is, so far, at least radar is not detecting any large hail core, but still the potential there of some marble-sized hail within this storm. But again, we have seen these storms intensify, weaken, and then intensify again. And that is going to probably be the pattern that we see if this storm ends up holding together. But even if it doesn't, conditions are beginning to deteriorate and become more unstable to the south of this storm system. And so we are monitoring the potential for additional development over the next several hours. I know some of you are now joining us on YouTube. Some of you are asking about your various areas and whether they are under the gun today. And the best answer is the threat does exist. Some of you have been asking about Omaha, North Omaha, Plattsmouth, but keeping a close eye on this. Don't believe we have an update from the National Weather Service since that initial warning was issued about 10 minutes ago. It does remain in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon. As it continues to push off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour, now approaching the Gresham area. And Highway 69 as well. As the core of this storm will be passing very close to Gresham, that is going to be the primary threat area for some hail. Hopefully it will remain on the small side. But again, these storms do have a pattern of weakening and then re-intensifying in a very cyclical form. And so that is what we're going to be keeping an eye on throughout the afternoon. Again, we're streaming to you live on our 24/7 weather channel, as well as on our website and on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. And if you're joining us on Facebook or on YouTube, feel free to share a comment or a question that you may have. If you're under one of these thunderstorms, let us know what you see as well. The best information we get is always from the eyes on the ground, and that really helps us relay what's happening within these strong thunderstorms as they push through the area. So it appears we may be seeing a little bit of intensification on this storm system. I do want to remind you, this is very far away from the radar site, so that may be inhibiting our ability to see whether or not this is in fact producing severe hail. So we're really relying on the eyes on the ground to tell us what's going on with this severe thunderstorm warning. Again, this is in York County, right in between Waco and Gresham, this hail core that appears to be building up a little bit of intensity here as it's approaching Highway 69 right now. Continues to push off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour as potential for severe weather does exist for virtually the entire First Alert 6 area, as a severe thunderstorm watch now in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. That severe thunderstorm watch does include the Omaha metro area, so anytime between now and 7 o'clock, we could see additional development that could impact the Omaha metro area. I know a lot of you have been asking about that as you're just jumping into the live stream, and we do thank you for joining us. And if you're in the Omaha metro area, there are no immediate threats for thunderstorms in the metro area, but the threat does exist as we push deeper into the afternoon hours. And so that is why a severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for the metro area until 7 o'clock this afternoon. Right now, though, our focus is on the storm you see on your screen right now that is pushing through York County. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon for the area in that yellow polygon you see on your screen. Now pushing just south of Gresham, and that is the area I would say is most threatened right now by the potential for large hail. So if you're joining us from Gresham or the surrounding area and you have any cars that you can get to shelter, it's now or never, as this there you see in the latest scan now. Fortunately, possibly pushing just south of Gresham, but could still be some large hail embedded in this cell as the severe thunderstorm warning continues for about another 9 minutes, and then we will see if the Weather Service wants to continue this warning, extend it further to the east and north, or if they're going to let this expire, because we have not received any confirmed reports of large hail, but we have seen this this hail core grow a little bit in size. It's showing a little bit more strength than it did a few minutes ago, and that is kind of the pattern that we see with these storms as they kind of pulse up and down as they move through the area. But still certainly a potential there for some penny-sized hail, and then possibly some larger stones capable of producing damage upwards of about the size or the width of a quarter or 1 inch in diameter as we continue through the afternoon hours. So the severe thunderstorm warning set to expire now in just about 7 minutes. We will see if the National Weather Service decides to continue this, or just let it expire on its own. And I think we just got our answer. And as you just saw, a new severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for this same storm system that we are tracking in the western portion of our viewing area. New severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for Butler and Seward counties until 1:30 this afternoon. Severe thunderstorm warning does include the communities of Bee, Staplehurst, and Ulysses. Again, as we've seen for the last hour or so with this thunderstorm, the primary threat is for large hail. Right now, the wind threat appears to be extremely low, no indication of any rotation or potential tornadoes. But again, we do have now a new severe thunderstorm warning for Butler and Seward counties until 1:30 this afternoon. We're going to continue to keep a watch on this, but for an update, let's throw it over to the Weather Center now for an update from the First Alert 6 weather team.
This storm holds together. It does have the potential to eventually reach the metro, and that new warning, that's going to extend all the way until 1:30. The wind speed, that's at about 50 miles per hour, but it's the hail size that we're concerned with. We did have some observations of large hail, 1 inch hail potential as that storm continues to roll off to the north. Looks like it's going to stay just off to the north of Utica as that continues on its path out to the east. And if it again stays on track, that could push into the metro, where we do have that risk of a few strong storms through the evening. So as we time this out on the hour-by-hour forecast through about 2 p.m., I would say that's our highest risk time frame for that strong storm to get into the metro. But we could have another storm or two still on the map through about 6 to 7 o'clock, so we can't rule out some more intense thunderstorm potential. Main threats going to be hail and wind. Can't rule out a tornado spin-up, especially into western Iowa. We'll be back with more news after the break.
All right, Emily, thank you. We're going to go back now to our streaming coverage. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Butler and Seward counties, as you just saw it, until 1:30 this afternoon. The primary threat for now is large hail, upwards of 1 inch in diameter. That is going to be the primary concern as this continues to push off to the east-northeast. Now, according to the Weather Service, more easterly at about 40 miles per hour. The latest update is the public did make a report of quarter-sized or 1-inch diameter hail in York a short time ago from this thunderstorm. So as a result, they have gone ahead and extended this severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Seward and Butler County until 1:30 this afternoon. Let's go ahead and zoom out here, and you can kind of get a better idea of where this storm is now. And originally on its former trajectory, it was certainly heading more north of any potential interaction with the metro area, but now that it is beginning to shift to the east. If this storm does maintain its intensity over the next couple of hours, it will certainly make its way towards the metro area. But again, that will take some time, as it is quite a bit to the west right now, and we will continue to monitor that as well as the rest of the area for the potential of some new severe thunderstorms developing. Again, severe thunderstorm watch does remain in effect until 7 o'clock this evening for the counties shaded in yellow. You see there, this does include the Omaha metro area, as well as points to the west and points to the north and east into Iowa. Again, severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 7 o'clock this afternoon. We saw a very powerful hail-producing storm move through the northern portion of our viewing area, now exiting into central Iowa, prompting a new watch there. And now our attention has turned over to the York area, where we're monitoring this new severe thunderstorm that has now have a history of producing 1-inch diameter hail in York just about 30 minutes ago. Right now, this is the main concern in our area. As you see the severe thunderstorm watch stretching through Nebraska and into Iowa. Over in the North Platte area, you see there's now a freeze watch in effect as some very cold air is moving in behind this storm system that will finally be exiting this area after several days. And so some very cold air will be flooding in behind it. Not expecting any freeze here in the metro area or eastern Nebraska, western Iowa, but could see some scattered frost once this cold air pours into the area later this week. But for now, the primary concern is for that hail threat with this severe thunderstorm warning now pushing out of the York area, capable of producing 1-inch diameter hail. Let's go back now live to that storm system as it continues to track off to the east now at 40 miles per hour. And again, we're seeing a very fluctuating hail core coming from this. We do have a lot of hail reports on the radar right now. That is from the storm system that has just exited the Carroll area. That dumped a lot of significant hail across the northern portion of our viewing area this morning. And so getting a very early jump on the day's severe weather here in the First Alert 6 viewing area. So now our concern turns toward the storm now making its way towards Seward. We'll go ahead and zoom in on that for you. As you can see, the area that's being impacted right now, southeast of Gresham, now heading for Ulysses and Staplehurst. And right now, the primary threat that we are getting from this storm is large hail. We have been monitoring a very small, compact hail core that radar says is not producing large hail. But again, I want to stress this is quite a bit of ways from the radar site, so that beam is not able to see closer to the ground. And so we may not actually be getting the whole picture of the scope of this hail core. And that is why that report of 1-inch diameter hail in York about a half hour ago is so important for the Weather Service to get to confirm what is actually going on inside the storm system. Over on Facebook, Corey's asking, what are the tornadic chances here in the Omaha Metro today? You can't rule out an isolated tornado for sure, but with the way the dynamics are and the history that we've seen in these storm systems yesterday and now today, it appears that the primary threat is going to be large hail. Now, it's possible if we see a large complex of thunderstorms develop that we could see some bowing structure. That would possibly transfer the primary threat over to some strong damaging winds. But I would say right now the tornadic threat is very low. A stronger potential for tornadoes does exist in the far eastern portion of our area in western Iowa. But right now I think the primary concern we got to be worried about, especially when we're talking about getting close to travel time this afternoon, is the potential for some large hails. But you can't rule out an isolated tornado, but I think that is for now at least, the least of the risks from these severe thunderstorms. I'm going to double check and see if we have any DOT cameras in this area that might give us a view of what's going on. Fortunately, I don't think we have any cameras in that immediate area. This is well north of Interstate 80 now, well south of the Columbus area, and just no real cameras in that area that we can access for any information on what's happening in that area. Over on Facebook, Haley asking about the Council Bluffs area. Yeah, Haley, the same goes for Council Bluffs as the rest of the metro area. Severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. Right now, the only severe thunderstorm is what you see on your screen over exiting the Gresham area. And if we zoom out here, there you see where it is in relation to the metro area. Still quite a ways away, but now that it is moving a little bit more easterly, if this storm does hold together, it does have the potential to impact the metro area here later this afternoon. Right now, the only real threat from this storm system has been the large hail. But we will monitor it for any potential signs of rotation or strong damaging winds. But right now, the National Weather Service is really only concerned about the potential for large hail because, as we saw earlier this morning, in the northern part of our viewing area, one cell can do a lot of damage because, let me pull it up here real quickly. This is a look. All of these hail reports came from one thunderstorm earlier this morning, and there is that thunderstorm now out of our viewing area in central Iowa. All of these hail reports came from that one cell, and some of these are extremely large. Multiple reports of 1-inch diameter hail, 2-inch diameter hail in Buck Grove. Likely a lot of damage up in this area. 1.5 inches in Dow City, 1.5 inches in Denison as well. So that was apparently some of that fell on a hospital in Denison. So a lot of areas likely received some very damaging hail this morning, and that remains the primary threat with what we're monitoring right now. Just east of the York area. So we'll zoom back in on that area right now. And see if we've got any updates from the National Weather Service on this. We do have an update from the National Weather Service from just a few minutes ago. Severe thunderstorm located 4 miles northeast of Utica, 12 miles northeast of York. Still now moving off to the east at 40 miles per hour. This storm does have a history of producing 1-inch diameter hail, which is capable of producing damage to vehicles that are caught in its path. But right now, again, no indication of any strong damaging winds, just that hail core capable of producing 1-inch diameter hail. Let's see if we can try and get a tracker going on this here. So right now, the primary concerns are for the Staplehurst area. You should be seeing the storm within the next 10 minutes be around 126, 132 in the Dwight area, 142 in the Loma area. So still quite a ways away, moving at about 40 miles an hour, but still a long ways away from the metro area. We will have to see if it's able to maintain its intensity over the next couple of hours. And also, we are still monitoring the potential for additional thunderstorm development across the area. So that is why we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 7 o'clock this afternoon. As we said, this does include the Omaha metro area. Right now, the primary threat appears to be the potential for large hail capable of causing damage to property and vehicles left outdoors. But right now, we have one severe thunderstorm in our area producing 1-inch diameter hail in the York area about a half hour ago, and that continues to move off to the east at about 40 miles an hour. So again, The potential still exists for some large hail and possibly some strong damaging winds for the metro area later this afternoon. And that is why that severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 7 o'clock. Let's go ahead and put this in motion so you can see as that major hail producer has now exited our area after producing report after report across the northern third of our area. We are now monitoring this storm system east of York, now pushing towards the Wahoo area, moving to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. We have not seen any additional development, which at this point I guess is good news, that we haven't seen any additional development to the south, but that is something we continue to monitor. But the threat appears to be focused on large hail. As you see, the size of this watch is rather small as things have largely stabilized to the north of the watch where we had that hail-producing storm move through earlier. And now we're just monitoring not only this storm, but the potential for other storms to develop over the next several hours across Nebraska and Iowa. And again, the primary threat is going to be for large hail as we continue to move through the afternoon hours. Okay, back now. We'll zoom in on this storm here on live First Alert radar. There you see where that hail core is southwest of Ulysses right now. Still not the most prominent hail core on radar, but we are still quite a distance away from the radar site, and that may be inhibiting a better look inside this storm. We have been keeping an eye on the velocity scans, not really seeing anything too concerning. Some isolated wind gusts embedded in this storm system, but no signs of significant winds or any kind of rotation as the storm moves through. Every now and then it seems like it's trying to become a little bit more linear, which would raise the potential of some stronger wind gusts. But right now, the primary threat remains that hail core that you see there in that purple area southwest of Ulysses. That is where the potential for 1-inch diameter hail exists right now. Again, I want to thank everyone that's joining us. We are streaming live on our website on our 24/7 Weather channel, which is available if you have a Roku device. Just look for First Alert 6 on your Roku device. We're also streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. And if you're watching us on YouTube, best way you can help us is just make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to get alerted when we go live, because we go live around the clock when weather warrants or when breaking news warrants, you can get an alert by ringing that bell icon on our YouTube channel. But again, we're bringing you this extended coverage because this is what you don't normally see on television. But of course, for those of you that are impacted by this storm, you want to know what's going on, and we're going to continue to track it not only through our entire viewing area, but especially here as the storm system potentially enters the Omaha metro area within the next couple of hours. That would be a primary concern, as right now the main threat from these storms continues to be the potential of large damaging hail. We haven't seen any strong wind gusts, no signs of any rotation, no indication that any of these storms are going to produce a tornado. Those do remain isolated threats as we move through the afternoon hours, but so far that primary threat remains 1-inch diameter hail and possibly larger as it continues to push off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. Again, the severe thunderstorm watch remains severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 1:30 this afternoon for Butler and Seward counties. This storm is moving off to the east at 40 miles per hour and does have a history of producing 1-inch diameter hail, that taking place about 45 minutes ago in the York area. Severe thunderstorm is making its way towards Staplehurst right now as it continues to push off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. Here's a closer look at the area impacted. Right now, the potential hail core in this storm system is hopefully going to miss Staplehurst to the north, but anywhere between Staplehurst and Ulysses, obviously there's the potential for some large hail falling inside this storm system as it continues to push off to the east at 40 miles per hour. We've seen this hail core kind of ebb and flow a little bit as it's made its way through our area so far. And although it hasn't really given us any indication that it's going to grow in intensity, it is maintaining its intensity. And so obviously there remains the potential that as this approaches the metro area, it could grow stronger, or we could see additional thunderstorm development. Also watching this lobe on the south end of it that is starting to develop as the potential of maybe some more thunderstorms trying to fire up. But again, there's real questions this afternoon about the level of instability in the atmosphere because of all of the cloud cover we've seen this morning, possibly limiting the dynamics in the atmosphere to produce severe thunderstorms. Nevertheless, enough of a threat exists, and so that's why we do have this severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect until 7 o'clock this evening for the counties you see shaded in yellow, and this again does include the Omaha metro area as well as portions of Wahoo, Fremont, down towards the Lincoln metro area, Plattsmouth, Blair, Tacoma, all the way over towards Red Oak, Atlantic, Harlan, and then Denison and Carroll. And for folks in Tacoma, Denison, and Carroll, really fingers crossed that you can avoid this round because you have already been hit extremely hard by that large hail earlier this morning as that powerful thunderstorm, which has now triggered its own severe thunderstorm watch in central Iowa, has finally exited our area. Here's a wider view of those two warnings, the one now out of our area and the one now crossing into our area to the from the west as they continue to move almost in unison at about 40 miles per hour. If you take a look just east of our viewing area, you can see some additional development south of that severe thunderstorm. And so we'll keep an eye on that, whether or not that will begin to back build into our viewing area. As there's so many boundaries out there that could fire off thunderstorms. We have a warm front draped across the area that we're also keeping an eye on. And it's just a question of where and when these storms could get going beyond where they have already. Here's a wider view of that loop with that severe thunderstorm watch. You see those showers and thunderstorms up towards Norfolk down to Grand Island. No concern that those are going to go severe for those areas. Very relatively isolated severe thunderstorm watch. As right now, the Storm Prediction Center doesn't think that this is going to expand in coverage area all that much. It's very possible that this could just be this one isolated severe thunderstorm that just kind of rolls through the viewing area here over the next several hours. But obviously, we're going to continue to monitor the ongoing potential for additional development beyond the currently warned storm that we have northwest of Lincoln. Let's go back now to that severe thunderstorm. We do these do pop up a little bit late sometimes, but we do have that report from York earlier, now about 45 minutes ago. Officially dime-sized hail, which is not severe, but there was a report also from the York area of 1-inch diameter hail, which convinced the Weather Service to continue this warning to the east now as it is passing north of Seward. And again, we're just keeping an eye on this light shower activity south of the thunderstorm for any potential development. It kind of looks like the storm is beginning to elongate a little bit north and south. It's still producing that good hail core between Staplehurst and Ulysses, but possibly right at the same time that we're seeing some back building in the storm that has exited the Carroll area, we could begin to start seeing some back building with this storm. And so we're going to have to keep an eye on that, especially for how that is going to interact with the atmosphere as we move deeper into the afternoon hours. Now, as these storms move off to the east, we do expect them to interact with some more favorable conditions, especially areas along and south of the Omaha metro area. And so we will be keeping an eye out for additional development, and that could also play a role in additional development up towards the Carroll area that could back build into our viewing area. So that is why this is the main area for concern right now for additional thunderstorm development over the next 5 hours or so. And that will continue until this frontal system moves out of our area, and then we're going to see a very, very drastic drop in temperatures moving forward. But for now, we're focused on the potential for severe weather over the next several hours, as the severe thunderstorm watch will stay in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. I'm going to go ahead and put this in motion once again with the lightning, and there you see we're getting some additional development south of that severe thunderstorm warned storm, still east of our area, but it is kind of back building. So folks in Atlantic, Red Oak, and Shenandoah will have to keep an eye on that and see if that continues to develop to the south and west. Otherwise, we are kind of seeing a similar feature with our more compact storm over here, a little bit of additional development south of Columbus, but also getting an indication that this storm is beginning to develop a little bit to the south. Obviously, just some light showers in that area, but we'll obviously be monitoring this for additional development over the next hour or so, as this storm may be kind of taking on a different form, and we may see the focal point shift a little bit, but right now the focus is right there where you see that core of purple where the potential hail core exists, and there we see a new scan, and that is showing a little bit more intensity in that potential hail core. So let's take a look at that and see if we have an updated hail scan. Those do tend to tail behind, and yeah, now we're getting a stronger indication of some severe hail near the Ulysses area. Now, again, this is just measuring the potential hail size aloft in the atmosphere, now approaching 1 inch in diameter. This does not mean that is what's hitting the ground, but this is a growing indicator that some severe hail remains possible in the greater Ulysses area, now approaching Highway 15, Highway 66, I believe, as well. That is the area of concern right now for large damaging hail falling inside this storm system. As we go back now to live first alert radar, you can see that purple area now beginning to grow, and we're getting some stronger returns to the south. So I'm going to kind of just manually rock this back and forth as we zoom out a little bit so you can see what we're talking about. There you see as this thunderstorm was producing hail in York, it really was more of a circular glob, and as it has continued to push off to the east, we've seen it elongate and try and back build to the south. And we're not really seeing that happen successfully, but we are seeing the stronger portion of this storm kind of elongate a little bit, but no indication that that is leading to any strong wind gusts. Right now, the Weather Service says those wind gusts are staying below severe limits, but that could change as we could see some leading edge winds embedded in this storm system. And I would say that is going to be the concern now. There you see a new, much larger severe thunderstorm warning has been issued as the storm is exiting the currently warned area. This severe thunderstorm warning is now in effect until 2:15 this afternoon. So this is going to be an hour-long severe thunderstorm warning. Here we go. This is for portions of Lancaster, Seward, Butler, and Saunders counties until 2:15 this afternoon. Severe thunderstorm located near B, or 8 miles north of Seward, is continuing to move off to the east at 40 miles per hour. This would put this storm system, if it maintains its intensity, into the Omaha metro area in about the next 90 minutes. So if you're joining us from the metro area, you've got roughly 90 minutes or so to make sure anything that could be sensitive to hail is covered or sheltered properly, as this storm does have a history of putting down 1 inch diameter hail. That is capable of producing damage to vehicles as well as property left outside. Cities including Wahoo, Valparaiso, Meade, Weston, Dwight, B, Ithaca, and Lake Wanahoo Rec area, all in the path of this storm, not only producing large hail, but very intense lightning as well. So a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for portions of Butler, Lancaster, Saunders, and Seward counties until 2:15 this afternoon. Again, so far, the National Weather Service has given no indication that we're seeing any strong damaging wind gusts embedded in the storm system. We'll see if that continues, but like every storm that we saw last night, every storm that we saw earlier this morning, the primary threat continues to be the potential for large damaging hail in our area. So for those of you who might just be joining us in the Omaha metro area, this storm is headed for the metro area, and if it maintains its intensity, we could see some strong to severe conditions in the metro area in the next 90 minutes or so. But right now, the focus is on the new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Butler, Lancaster, Saunders, and Seward counties until 2:15 this afternoon. Let's go ahead and zoom back in here on this storm system. We have seen some new intensification as the storm has become a little bit more elongated, in fact. And we are seeing a slightly stronger hail core inside it as a result, right near the B and Dwight areas. There you see right along Highway 66 at the intersection of Highway 15. The scan is likely a little bit old as the hail scans tend to drift behind our reflectivity scans, although this one does look pretty much on the money, so this may be a more recent scan. But there you see that purple area, and wow, now you see the whites there right along the county line east of Highway 15, south of Highway 66. That is certainly either extremely intense rainfall or the beginnings of a stronger hail core as this continues to push off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. We'll have to wait and see when we get a new hail scan, but I suspect it may show a little bit stronger return right where you see that white area embedded inside the thunderstorm. That is likely where the hail core exists right now. So if you're joining us anywhere near the areas of Dwight, Loma, Valparaiso, the clock is ticking. If you want to get any sensitive items, vehicles, or otherwise under some shelter, it's now or never, as this severe thunderstorm is now bearing down on your area, especially Dwight, again, Loma, and Valparaiso within the next few minutes, as the storm is moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. Again, right now, this is the only severe thunderstorm warned storm in our area. It's still kind of been tracking across the area on its own. Let's switch back over here. This is the severe thunderstorm watch mainly for this one storm, and haven't seen any additional development, although we're keeping an eye out for that. Severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect. This does include the Omaha metro area until 7 o'clock this evening. Here's a look at the storm that has exited our area. Here's a look at the storm that is now coming through our area. Still producing a strong amount of lightning. Seeing another thunderstorm develop to its northwest, we'll have to keep an eye on as well, as that is growing in intensity. As this pushes off to the east, it could run into some more favorable conditions, and that's why there's some concern now as it approaches the metro area here over the next 30 to 40 minutes that we could see more widespread hail reports come in as this enters some more populated areas, as well as over in the Wahoo area. That hail core is headed right for the community within the next 30 to 45 minutes. There you see that latest hail report that we just received. We'll go ahead and check that out here for you. This was 1-inch diameter hail confirmed in the community of Ulysses. This was about 7 minutes ago that this storm produced 1-inch diameter hail in Ulysses, and since that time, that hail core is looking a little bit stronger as it is now closing in on the Dwight area. We'll take a look at the hail scan right now, and yes, that scan looks an awfully lot stronger than what we saw just a few minutes ago. Now radar detecting hail in excess of 1 inch in diameter aloft. Again, that does not mean that that's the size of the hail reaching the ground, but 1 inch diameter hail capable of producing damage right now just about right over the town of Dwight, next heading towards the Valparaiso area, as well as the Weston area. But that is where the primary hail core is right now. And boy, that is not a good sign for people that are in the Dwight area right now, as that severe thunderstorm now is beginning to build in intensity as it pushes off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. Taking a look, so far the Weather Service hasn't been too concerned about any strong wind gusts, and we're not really seeing any indication of any of these stronger winds reaching the ground. It looks like we may have some leading edge wind gusts, but again, the primary concern is right there where we're seeing that very strong hail core now building as it is likely impacting the Dwight area right now. Here on the reflectivity scan, you can see that area, especially in the darker purples and the white. This is where that large hail is expected to be falling right now. And if it's not impacting Dwight now, it will be very shortly, as that severe thunderstorm warning continues now with a much more documented history of producing at least 1 inch diameter hail as it's made its way through our viewing area. Boy, that is an extremely strong radar signature right around the Dwight area. Potential of some very intense hail falling on the community of Dwight as this continues to push off to the east at 40 miles per hour. This will be awfully close to Loma as well. Anybody in this area driving along Highway 66, if you can find shelter for your vehicle, now's the time, because there is a very strong hail core that's now developed right over the Highway 66 area, right now impacting the community of Dwight, and then potentially next in its path, Loma and Valparaiso, especially right along Highway 66. Anybody traveling on that road near Dwight needs to seek shelter immediately, because this is certainly producing hail capable of producing dents and cracked windshields in a vehicle caught in its path. That is one of the stronger returns we've seen since the cell earlier this morning that produced some very large hail in excess of 2 inches in diameter in northern parts of our viewing area, including western Iowa. But this is a very strong indication of some large hail that is now falling over the Dwight area and right along Highway 66. So any vehicles unfortunately caught in the path of it, there's a very strong chance they're running into some pretty large hail right now in the Dwight area. There's our latest, right over Dwight too. That is the latest hail scan from the radar, and it is not good. Right now it's detecting hail in the atmosphere, not hitting the ground, upwards of 2 inches in diameter. So it is highly probable that the Dwight area right now is experiencing hail above 1 inch in diameter, possibly 1.5 inches in diameter, because that is a very strong hail core that we're now seeing that has really just intensified in the last 20 minutes or so. And a very concerning hail signature there over the Dwight area. 2 inch diameter hail being detected by the radar in the atmosphere. So I would say it's very likely Dwight is seeing anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inch diameter hail on the ground right now. We keep keeping an eye on the velocity scans, and again, we're not seeing anything of significant concern there either. That's the good news. There could be some stronger wind gusts out ahead of the main thunderstorm complex, but again, right there where you see those bright whites, that is a clear indicator of some very large hail that has fallen in the Dwight area. Now that hail core will be approaching awfully close to the Loma area, hopefully skirting north of Valparaiso. But anybody in this larger area should be seeking shelter not only for themselves but for their vehicles as this continues to push off to the east at 40 miles per hour. As it, if it maintains its intensity, other areas that could be impacted include Weston as well as Wahoo. So a very, very potent severe thunderstorm here now, giving indications that it is likely producing some very large hail. And likely produced some large hail just moments ago in the Dwight area. So if you know anybody in that area, hopefully they're okay. Very curious to hear what they saw or what they experienced as that moved through that area. But we're going to be continuing to monitor this as it continues to push off and is now getting awfully close to the metro area here over the next hour or so. We do have a camera, a DOT camera in the Wahoo area. I'm going to see if we can get that pulled up here and start monitoring that as well. Not seeing that camera working just yet. Doesn't look like it wants to cooperate with us, but we'll see if we've got another camera in that area. Okay, obviously still far away from the Wahoo area right now, but again, an extremely strong hail core now being detected inside this severe thunderstorm, now indicating hail potentially up to 2 inches in diameter inside this hail core that has just passed over the Dwight area. And boy, if they didn't see some large hail in Dwight, that would be a very, very big stroke of luck, because that is a very strong hail core we're now getting on radar. I'm going to see here if we've got a new scan here. Now detecting hail close to 1.5 inches in diameter. We did get this up to 2 inches earlier, just a few moments ago. And unfortunately, that decrease in the hail estimate embedded in the storm could be a sign that some of that larger hail has fallen to the ground as it passed over the Dwight area. So there could be some pretty significant damage in that area from this hail that has likely fallen in the Dwight area, now heading for the areas of Valparaiso, Weston, and Wahoo over the next 20 minutes. Again, as a result of this thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for the counties you see shaded in yellow until 7 o'clock this evening. This does include the Omaha metro area, and this does include area of Plattsmouth, Fremont, Blair, Tacoma, Denison, Carroll, Harlan, Atlantic, and west of Red Oak. Again, the severe thunderstorm watch will remain in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. These are the 2 storms that we have been monitoring. One is now out of our area, and now our focus turns to this latest storm that is bearing down on the Wahoo area west of the metro. And if this does continue along its current path and maintain its current intensity, we will see this impact portions of the Omaha metro area. And it looks like we may have just gotten a report from Dwight, and I'm kind of afraid to look at this right now. 1.25 inch diameter hail confirmed in Dwight. So slightly larger than a quarter, but 1.25 inch diameter hail in Dwight, that certainly could have produced damage to cars, possibly even to the siding of homes. Anything else left outside could be dented or dinged by hail that big. Again, 1.25 inch diameter hail just reported minutes ago in Dwight as that storm system passed through. Just to recap this much larger severe thunderstorm warning, we now have in effect, as this storm now has a well-documented history of producing severe weather. The severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 2:15 this afternoon for Lancaster, Seward, Butler, and Saunders counties. Severe thunderstorm was located near Dwight, 11 miles northeast of Seward, now moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. We do now have the concern for ping-pong-sized hail. After trained weather spotters did report quarter-sized hail near Ulysses, and now we have a report from Dwight just minutes ago of 1.5-inch diameter hail. So again, people, animals left outdoors can be seriously hurt by hailstones this big. It can also damage roofs, siding, windows, and of course, vehicles left out in its path. So severe thunderstorm warning continuing until 2:15 this afternoon for areas of Lancaster, Seward, Butler, and Saunders counties. All right, we continue to monitor this severe thunderstorm warning right now until 2:15 this afternoon. As you can see where the radar beam is originating from, this is headed right for the Omaha metro area over the next hour or two. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the strongest portion of this storm, which has now a rather lengthy history of producing some large damaging hail. And we've been monitoring a hail core in there that has, according to radar, weakened somewhat, but that is not necessarily good news. We saw this hail core right over the town of Dwight, much stronger than this, and now it's weakened. Sometimes that's an indication that rather than weakening, that the hail core has just shrunk a little bit as it's dropped its largest hail, and it appears that's what happened in the Dwight area, where they reported 1.5-inch diameter hail in the community of Dwight. That hail core now right on top of the city of Loma, so anybody in that area likely experiencing large damaging hail right now. Next in line for this is Newman, hopefully passing north of Valparaiso, and then ultimately further into the warned area, especially Weston, Swedberg, and Wahoo, next at risk for this hail-producing storm pushing through our area. But again, that hail core remains very strong. It's weakened a little bit as it did drop some large hail in the Dwight area. But it can certainly re-intensify. We're seeing a lot of what some might consider a kind of a hook pattern on this, but again, I want to stress we're not seeing any strong indications of any strong wind gusts. It looks like there could be some broad rotation, but that Well, actually, that rotation looks pretty good, but that is in a somewhat unusual position to be concerned about any type of tornadic activity. Again, there is a lot of rotation in this storm, and that is fueling this hail. As you see those colors, those bright green colors, that's an indication of the air being sucked into the storm, what we call inflow, and then the reds wrapping around it, that is the outflow. We are seeing some tight returns on that now south of Newman. So we'll have to see what the National Weather Service is hearing from people on the ground. But if not any rotation to be concerned about, certainly an indication that this storm is beginning to feed on the atmosphere and the instability out ahead of it. Okay, keeping an eye on this severe thunderstorm right now between Newman and Valparaiso. Just checking in to see if any of our storm chasers are out on this storm. It doesn't look like any of them are out right now. But right now, this is the main area of concern. Let's switch back over to the velocity scans. Not really seeing anything concerning. It looks like there's some rotation in there, but again, this is on the leading edge of the storm system. This is not the area where we would expect to see any type of rotation to be concerned about. This could just be the airflow coming into the storm system, because as we take a look at the hail scans, we're still seeing that rather strong hail core, likely right in between Newman and Valparaiso right now along Highway 79. Definitely capable of producing hail upwards of 1 inch in diameter, or about the width of a quarter, and that is the primary concern right now. Again, this is First Alert 6 in Omaha as we're monitoring this severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 2:15 this afternoon for the area you see in yellow here, stretching from Valparaiso up to Newman. That is the primary concern area for the potential of large hail. Also some very intense rainfall, as well as a lot of lightning. In fact, if we switch over to that right now, there you see all of the lightning embedded in this storm system right now, and seeing quite a bit of strikes just within the last few minutes. Over 50 strikes reported, and this is a relatively small storm center, so that's a lot of intense lightning hitting the ground over a very small area right now, as the severe thunderstorm continues to push off to the east at about 35 miles per hour. Let's see here. The last update we received from the National Weather Service, excuse me, was that we now have a report $half sized hail in Dwight. That was when we saw the hail core at its strongest, but still strong enough to be capable of producing severe damaging hail upwards and in excess of 1 inch in diameter. So again, right now that hail core, if we switch over to our hail scanner right now, right in between Newman and Valparaiso, so this entire area, depending on where the wind is blowing, could be seeing some of this larger hail that continues to appear to be falling in this area. Right now, the strongest portion of the hail core, according to radar, is still over 1 inch in diameter, so the potential of severe hail reaching the ground remains rather strong between the Newman and Valparaiso areas as the storm continues to push off to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. Now, as we zoom out a little bit here, you're going to see that this is potentially going to reach the Omaha metro area within the next hour or two. And so if you are in the metro area and you have a place to get your car, you don't need to take it anywhere over the next couple hours. If you have a place to shelter it, that would be great because this storm could be impacting the metro area in the next couple of hours, unfortunately, just before the evening rush. So I know a lot of people may have their cars out in exposed parking, and you may not have an option right now. But again, we'll have to keep an eye out for the potential of this large hail reaching the Omaha metro area. Okay, so this remains the one severe thunderstorm that we have in our area as it is creeping closer to the metro area right now. Not a lot of DOT cameras in its path. We do have one camera up in the Wahoo area we'll take a look at a little bit later, but unfortunately it is not pointed remotely close to the sky because these are DOT cameras and they're not designed to be tracking severe weather. They're designed to be tracking area roadways. So not all surprising that the cameras may not give us any kind of look that we need. But as this approaches the metro area, we're certainly going to have a good look at it from all of our sky cams in our network as it comes in from the west. But for right now, just not a lot of areas where we can get a good look at this. All right, we'll take a closer look now at this severe thunderstorm as it continues to slowly make its way closer to the metro area here. And we're still getting some pretty strong returns in that hail core right along Highway 79, bearing down on the Wahoo area here over the next 20 or 30 minutes. That is the area of greatest concern for large hail right now. And unfortunately, getting a much stronger hail return now as it is passing east of Newman. Weston is the next community in its path, as well as any rural areas between Weston and Valparaiso. This is a rather potent hail core. And if we take a look at what radar is detecting, at least up in the clouds, 1.6 inch diameter hail being reported aloft, that likely is easily translating to 1 inch diameter hail or more falling across this area. You see shaded in blue and purple. So a very strong hail core now becoming stronger than we've seen it earlier today as it is entering a slightly more favorable atmosphere here closer to the metro area. So the severe thunderstorm warning that you see on your screen does continue until 2:15 this afternoon, and would not be surprised for this to continue for some time as this storm system shows no signs of weakening. In fact, we're seeing a lot more intense hail, a lot more intense rainfall, some extremely vivid lightning hitting the ground, and all of this right now bearing down on the Wahoo area over the next 30 minutes or so. We're also keeping an eye out for any storm reports in relation to this. We have received a handful of reports. Not all of them are showing up on the map. The biggest report so far came from Dwight, where 1.5-inch diameter hail fell there, 1-inch diameter hail further to the west in Ulysses. And so you see kind of these gaps with the hail reports. Part of that is likely because these are very rural areas, and a lot of this hail is going to be falling in an area where nobody is experiencing it. But also because these storms tend to cycle. They tend to strengthen and weaken and strengthen and weaken. And we've seen that as the hail core has grown stronger and stronger and then kind of weakened a bit, likely because the hail got big enough that a lot of it came down to the ground, and that kind of shrunk the hail core a little bit. And now we're seeing it strengthen once again, hopefully over some rural terrain and hopefully not causing much in the way of damage. That's the hope. But the next time it intensifies, it could be over a community like Wahoo or Elkhorn or somewhere else in the metro as this continues to move right into the metro area over the next couple of hours. So that is the concern right now with this severe thunderstorm as we continue to track its trajectory through our viewing area. And again, we do still have a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect, largely because of this one storm, until 7 o'clock this evening. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning does have, the severe thunderstorm watch primarily for the threat of large hail. We could still see some strong gusty winds, although we're seeing no indication of that so far within these thunderstorms, and a very isolated threat of a tornado, but again, not seeing any signs of that in the immediate future. So really this is focused on the threat of strong, large, damaging hail that is falling, especially within this one cell that is bearing down on the Wahoo area right now as it moves to the east-northeast, anywhere between 35 and 40 miles per hour. Mark over on Facebook joining us says they had golf ball-sized hail in Dunlap, Iowa this morning around 11:30. A lot of damage from what my sister told me there. Yeah, Mark, thanks for the comment. Unfortunately, that storm system that pushed through the area earlier this morning, see if I can pull it up here. Obviously, it is weakened considerably as it's pushed off to the east, but that cell you see way up by I-35 in central Iowa, that was responsible for all of that large hail we saw this morning across northern Nebraska and northwest Iowa, producing a lot of 1 to 2 inch hail reports, even larger. And so, unfortunately, a lot of communities likely experienced damage from that storm, damage to vehicles, damage to homes and roofs, siding, any windows or windshields out there, likely experienced some damage from that storm system. Now we're focused in on this storm that now has a long history of its own producing some large hail, now closing in on the Wahoo area. And that is where the concern lies right now. Let's go ahead and zoom back in on that area right now, and you can see the area that we're keeping an eye on right now. Weston likely getting the brunt of this as this continues to push off to the north and east. As we take a look at that hail core, still rather potent, and just because it looks like it's passing south of Weston doesn't mean the community's in the clear, as the wind is really knocking this around. And so where the radar is detecting the hail may not be the only place where it's falling, but there you see clear indications of some large hail well above 1 inch in diameter aloft in the atmosphere, but obviously some of that is coming down to the ground, likely upwards of 1 inch in diameter or more, and that is capable of doing damage to property and vehicles, anything left outside that is susceptible to large hailstones. There you see the scope of this thunderstorm, which has really taken on a unique shape as it's traversed across the area. If we roll this back over the last hour or so, you can see how it at times was a little bit more round and now a little bit more elongated, and now seems to be kind of bending the other way. So taking some really unique shapes as it's pushing through the area. And we're now going to be focused in on the Wahoo area, where we do have a DOT camera, but unfortunately it is not pointed at the ground, or it's not pointed at the sky, it's pointed at the ground, because it's a traffic camera. It is not, it's not generally used for tracking severe thunderstorms. So basically what we're going to see out of it as this enters the Wahoo area is not a whole lot of the sky, but we could get an indication as to what's happening on the ground. So that's a little bit of good news for what we're able to see. We'll show you what we have here right now. This is that live camera from the Nebraska Department of Transportation in Wahoo. No severe weather there right now, as you see that truck making its way around the roundabout. But this storm is headed right for the Wahoo area, and so we expect to see this camera look a lot different here in the next 15 minutes or so. Okay, let's go back now to live first alert radar so we can get a look at the storm system bearing down on the Wahoo area. Very strong hail core just west of the community, so we're going to be keeping an eye on that here as this continues to push off to the east, anywhere between 30 and 40 miles per hour. Still getting some very strong returns. I believe that is northeast of Newman, due west of Wahoo, and certainly something of concern as we continue to watch this push further to the east. In a moment, we may be joined by Chief Meteorologist Matt Serwe as we are going to be updating our viewers on television. We will bring that to you live when that happens. But right now, we're continuing to monitor this severe thunderstorm that has a history of producing large hail, now heading into the Wahoo area. So we'll keep an eye on that camera in Wahoo that we have from the DOT. Again, it's pointed at the ground, which normally isn't good for weather, but since we're concerned about hail, it might give us a view of anything that happens in that area in the Wahoo area. So we will continue to monitor that camera for you and let you know if we see anything of concern there. But right now, the radar is telling the tale, unfortunately, and this hail core has maintained its intensity now for quite some time. So that is our primary concern right now. Okay, let's see here. Going to have you stand by here for just a moment as we work through some computer issues here. They always want to give you problems right in the middle of severe weather, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to work, those gremlins? Okay, I think we're coming back up here now. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look now at that hail core there you see east of Weston, approaching the Wahoo area. Right now, the largest hail detected by radar, just over an inch in diameter. Again, that is the hail being detected above the ground. Hopefully the hail falling is a little bit smaller, but certainly a very well-defined hail core continuing to move to the east now and approaching the Wahoo area. We'll go ahead and switch back now to the radar image and reflectivity. You can see those strong pockets of hail and very intense rainfall in those darker purples and then especially those white areas you see there. Taking a quick look at some of the velocity scans, and it is just has not been a concern all day, and it certainly looks like it is still not a concern, as this has really not indicated any sort of rotation embedded in this storm. Maybe some brief wind gusts on the leading edge, but nothing that has indicated damaging winds through the life of this severe thunderstorm. So again, the primary threat continues to be that large hail, as we see these hail cores continue to build and then drop large hail and then regenerate and do it again. And now that is bearing down on the Wahoo area. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning you see here for Wahoo and the surrounding area in effect until 2:15 this afternoon. Not getting any indication that the storm is going to be weakening anytime soon, so I would not be surprised in the next 15 minutes or so to see a severe thunderstorm warning begin to impact the metro area as this continues to push off to the east-northeast at between 30 and 40 miles per hour. Stephanie over on Facebook asking, are we worried it's going to be a tornado? You can't rule out an isolated tornado, but no, we have no indications right now that a tornado is going to be produced by this storm anytime soon. The dynamics are certainly there to produce rotation, but we're just not seeing it. And so far, like what we saw in the northern part of our area this morning and with the thunderstorms in the southern part of our area late last night, it seems that the primary threat is just going to continue to be the potential for large hail. And unfortunately, that can produce a lot of damage. Again, that is the main concern, is it's now beginning to enter some more populated areas, right now bearing down on the Wahoo area, and then ultimately entering the metro area within the next 30 to 40 minutes here in Omaha. We're going to see if we can get that camera back up and running in Wahoo to get an update on what's going on there. The storm bearing down on the area right now. And we'll see what we can get out of this image. And it looks like the camera is beginning to move around a little bit. Somebody is moving it, so we may get a better look at this storm system once it reaches the area here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and I'll take you out live. This is a live picture from the Nebraska Department of Transportation from Wahoo, and apologies, the camera is swinging all over the place. We're not controlling this camera, someone else is, so we may see it move around here. This is right here is the view that we've seen most of this afternoon, and so even though we may not be able to see what's happening in the skies, the reality is we need to know what's going on the ground, because the primary threat with this storm has been that large damaging hail. And so if any hail is falling in the vicinity of this camera in Wahoo, we're going to see that live right here. That is what we're going to be monitoring over the next 20 to 30 minutes. So a severe thunderstorm warning continuing for the Wahoo area for about another 15 minutes. This storm just minutes away right now, and you see a lot of cars out there on that roundabout. Anybody that's caught out in this, that hail core is heading right for Wahoo, and so the concern right now is that could cause a lot of damage, a lot of dings and dents, damaged windshields, and does have the capability of producing hail large enough to damage siding as well as roofs of homes. And nobody wants to deal with that. That can cause major bills. So a severe thunderstorm warning. The main threat right now is the large hail, and that is bearing down on the Wahoo area right now. All right, back out now live to First Alert Radar to get an updated look at where that severe weather is. You can see that core of the storm just outside the Wahoo area. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that on the DOT camera here over the next 20 minutes or so. But right now, we want to take a closer look at First Alert Radar. We'll zoom in a little tighter on this area. The core of the storm doesn't look quite as organized as it did a few minutes ago, and that hail core once again appears to have weakened. And this is what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 hours, is we see it produce large hail. That large hail falls to the ground. The hail core kind of compacts a little bit, kind of weakens, and then as it continues to push into more favorable conditions, that hail core intensifies once again and again produces large hail that has produced damage over many communities throughout the day today. With this particular storm, the largest report we received was from the town of Dwight, where 1.5-inch diameter hail fell just about an hour ago. And now the core of that storm is bearing down on the Wahoo area. Next up would be Meade. It looks like Ithaca, you may miss the worst of this. That's the good news, but you do still remain under that severe thunderstorm warning for about another 13 minutes. As this gets closer to the metro, we'll begin to show you some of our live sky cams across the metro that will really give us a good look at what's going on in the storm system as it passes through the metro area over the next hour or so. And we will start checking out those cameras as we can as the conditions begin to deteriorate across the metro. But right now, the main concern is for the Wahoo area, where we're keeping an eye out for that severe weather to reach that area. We do have a DOT camera in that area right now, but so far it has not reached where the camera's location is. So again, severe thunderstorm warning right now for Wahoo, Meade, and Ithaca until 2:15 this afternoon. The storm continues to push off to the east-northeast at around 30 to 40 miles per hour. It should be exiting the warned area here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. It's kind of slowed down a little bit, But with what we've seen, the history of this storm, now multiple reports of 1-inch diameter hail or larger, barring some significant weakening here, would not be surprised to see this warning eventually extended into the metro area in the next 30 minutes or so. Again, as you see there on the radar, this is bearing right down on the Wahoo area of Nebraska. And we're going to go ahead and take you back out there live right now. This is the Nebraska Department of Transportation camera at the intersection of Highways 77 and 109 in Wahoo. This is where we're monitoring the potential of some hail falling in this area, as that storm is just now bearing down on this area. You see a lot of cars out there, and hopefully they are getting to a place where they can get to some shelter. If you happen to be listening to us in the area where these storms are bearing down, gas station awnings are a great place. Or theoretically, if the wind is going to be somewhat out of the west, if you can get on the east side of a building to seek shelter, that would be ideal. But being out on those roadways driving in this will just compound the issue, as any large hail can easily put dents and dings in vehicles and also crack a windshield or two as the storm moves through that area. So right now, where this camera is at Highway 77 and 109, all is calm right now, but that severe thunderstorm is just knocking on the door right now outside of the Wahoo area. Let's go back now live to First Alert Radar right now, and we'll give you a look at where that storm is. And there you see, it won't be long before we see it on that camera, and we'll keep an eye out for that. But you see the strongest core of the storm stretching from Wahoo up north, right along Highway 77 and Highway 109. And that intersection is about a mile east of where the leading edge of this storm system is. So again, we're probably going to see conditions deteriorate very quickly on the DOT camera as this storm system continues to push into the Wahoo area. So we keep going back to this because I really want to keep an eye out for when this really gets going, because it should be any minute now. Can't really tell if we're getting some interference in the image or if we're getting indications of at least some rain falling. What little we can see in the background, we're not really getting any indication of any type of gusty winds in this area. Again, this is the intersection of Highway 77 and 109 in Wahoo, where that severe thunderstorm warning is now in effect. It looks like the rain may just be getting going. Yes, the rain is falling there now, and I apologize for the camera kind of jerking around. We are not controlling that. Someone else is doing that. But there you can see the rain is now falling as this severe thunderstorm has reached Wahoo. And actually, no, you can see that's hail. That is hail falling right now in Wahoo. Look at that. That is some hail falling at the intersection of Highway 77 and 109 right now in Wahoo. It's really hard to make out how big it is, but certainly it would not rule out some 1-inch hail in that. And unfortunately, any cars caught out in this run the risk of getting dinged up. But that is certainly some good hail falling right now in Wahoo. This is a live picture from the Nebraska Department of Transportation, and there you see that hail falling live right now in Wahoo. The signal's going in and out, and unfortunately, we're getting some moisture on the camera, but that is certainly some moderate to large hail now falling on the roadway there. As the storm system continues to trek to the east-northeast at 30 to 40 miles per hour. So here you see live right now hail falling at Highway 77 and 109 at the roundabout in Wahoo. That hail continues to fall, and hopefully it looks like it's mixing with a little more rain right now. And that was the other thing we were curious about, not just the size of the hail, but the duration of it, because anything lasting over a couple of minutes becomes a real problem, because that is a very large, intense hail core. Getting a little harder to make out, but it looks like there is still some hail falling with that rain as the storm is now pushing through the Wahoo area. So if you're joining us anywhere near Wahoo, we do have confirmation that hail is falling in the area. You see it here on the Nebraska Department of Transportation camera at the intersection of Highway 77 and 109. This is a severe thunderstorm warned cell, and we continue to keep an eye on its trek as it is inching closer to the Omaha metro area. there is what it looks like on the radar right now. You can see the strongest portion of that storm has moved just north of Wahoo, but that was where our camera was. Let me pull that up here real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So that camera we showed you, where we saw that large hail fall, that was right at this intersection northeast of Wahoo. So that is where the hail fell on the southern side of that intense area of the storm, now pushing off a little quicker now to the northeast. But that is where we just saw the hail fall on the DOT camera on the north side of Wahoo at the intersection of Highway 77 and 109. So certainly looked like there could be some 1-inch diameter hail in there, and boy, you got to feel for anybody that was caught out in that, because that probably is going to involve some people getting home and realizing they got a few dings in their car. Hopefully, though, no cracked windshields, as that can be a real mess to deal with. But the severe thunderstorm warning does continue until 2:15 in the afternoon for this area, as the thunderstorm continues to push off to the east-northeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. We do see a pretty intense portion of this storm now outside of the warned area. But again, the warning is really focused on the hail core. We're seeing some northern expansion of it, and so that may be taken into account if they continue to extend this warning, which I have no doubt that is likely to happen here in the next few minutes. But if we zoom in, this scan is likely right when we were live on the air with that hail core, because right where you see that blue, that is where we saw that hail falling. Now, radar estimated it at about just under 1 inch in diameter, and that may have been true. This may have been just below the severe limit, but still has the potential of causing some sporadic damage as those hailstones were falling. Boy, not a good sight for anybody in that area as this continues to push off to the northeast. And right on cue, there is your new severe thunderstorm warning for this storm. This does include portions of the metro area. This does not include the downtown area of Omaha, as the storm is now pushing a little more off to the northeast. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for the area you see there from the storm all the way over to the Missouri River. We'll go ahead and get the info here just in from the National Weather Service. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Washington, Dodge, Douglas, and Saunders County until 3:15 this afternoon. A severe thunderstorm was located 3 miles northeast of Meade, 4 miles northeast of Wahoo, moving to the northeast now at 35 miles per hour. Trained weather spotters reported severe hail with this storm near Valparaiso and Wahoo. We don't have estimated sizes on that, but severe hail would be anything 1 inch in diameter or higher, and that is what we showed you on our live camera from the DOT. We've got an update coming in from Chief Meteorologist Matt Surway. We'll take you to the Weather Center with his update right now.
3:15, and we've seen about $half size hail, 1.25 inch hail with this, and that's why it's got the observed tag on it as it went through Saunders County. So let's zoom in here. Let's show you where the strongest part of this storm is right now. It is just north of Wahoo. We've been keeping an eye on the Nebraska DOT cameras, the Nebraska 511 cameras in Wahoo, and they look to be about 1 to 1.25 inch hail falling there in Wahoo, right along Highway 92. That hail core right over Cologne right now, heading toward Highway 77. So Utan, you're going to see this in likely the next 5 minutes. Valley crossing over the Platte River probably in about 10 minutes. Let's zoom out here. Let's put a track on it as it moves across the Omaha Metro. This is moving off to the northeast at about 35 miles an hour. So we're going to go right to about here. And here are the arrival times for it. Valley, 2:31. Waterloo, 2:35. Elk City, 2:40. It'll be in Bennington by 2:49, and it'll be in Blair by about 2:55. So we want to give you a big first alert on this, because I know a lot of people probably getting ready. If you're not picking kids up from school right now, you might be getting ready to do that, getting ready to pick them up from the bus stop. This is where the hail core is going to go. It's going to just clip the northwest parts of the Omaha Metro. So if you're watching us anywhere south of Dodge, at this point, you are in the clear. You are good to go as we go through the next hour or so. It's mainly across northern Douglas County into southern Washington County toward Blair, where we have that potential for hail. Let's turn on the hail mode. Let's zoom in. And we'll show you what we're seeing right now. Again, this storm has been kind of pulsing up and down. It's cycling through where we see the biggest hail and where we have some smaller hail at the moment. So radar is picking up on, as I try to tap that here, you can see that we have radar picking up on maybe about 3/4 of an inch hail, so penny-sized hail with this. But the last scan, as it was moving through Wahoo, basically over Highway 77 and Highway 109, that's where radar was picking up on severe hail, at least 1-inch hail. If I turn on the radar mode and we go to lightning, you can see lots of lightning with this. You're going to hear this storm before it moves in, and lightning is also an indicator of where we have the best hail potential. If you see a lot of lightning strikes coming out of a thunderstorm, that means there's a lot of air moving up. You get the strong updraft, the separation of charges, big hail, heavy rain, lots of lightning. So the storm's letting you know that it is moving in. And the hail's the main issue with this. If I switch on the winds here, you can see kind of a broad rotation. You're looking at maybe some very broad rotation there in the thunderstorm, but it's been doing this for probably the last hour or so. We've been tracking the storm here in the Weather Center. We have Emily Roller, Bo Fogel, Jade Steffens here. We have all of this covered, and we've been watching this storm move across eastern Nebraska. It's had that sporadic kind of broad rotation with it, but it hasn't produced any type of a lowering, any type of a funnel cloud. So if you're radar savvy and you're looking at this and you're wondering, oh my gosh, it's spinning, it's very weak and it's very elevated. So keep that in mind. But with the wind speeds here, let's see if I can pick that. It's going to pick the warning. Okay. We do have potentially up to 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this. So wind's kind of secondary. It's really going to be the hail and the heavy rainfall potential with this as we go through the next hour or so. Again, if you're just joining us, we have this new severe thunderstorm warning that includes southern Washington, northwest Douglas County until 3:15. The storm just went through Wahoo. It's heading toward the U-10 area, heading toward the Platte River and Highway 275. So say you're someone driving from Fremont, heading toward Elkhorn or vice versa. You probably want to avoid 275 here between, I'd say, now and about 2:40. Or 2:30. That's where the storm is going to be crossing over that heavily trafficked area. The hail mode with this, again, we're not seeing much in the way of hail on the radar with this. I'm checking the Weather Service chat there. We haven't gotten any new reports with it, but again, this is a very healthy thunderstorm that is starting to push toward the Omaha Metro. The trend over the last half hour is that it's kind of weakening a little bit. Just a little bit. We had potentially up to ping pong ball size hail with this as it was moving close to David City, moving into western Saunders County. And if I put a loop on this, you can kind of see, here, I'll zoom out so you can see the entire loop. As it moved through Butler into Saunders County, look how intense that looked. Even had a little bit of a hook on it, showing that it was trying to become a rotating supercell. And now, not much left with it, but there's still enough moisture, enough energy that we are seeing the potential for hail across parts of Saunders and eventually Douglas County. So let's zoom in here. And again, that's just north of Highway 77. Pardon me. Let me zoom in here, get the road one more time. Yeah, just north of Highway 92, pardon me. Yes, north of Highway 77 as well. But this is going to basically parallel right along 92, staying
Matt,
between about Valley and Utan.
I noticed you wanted to talk about the wind speeds. I
Yes.
do have that pulled up on my computer because you do have some pretty strong winds coming out ahead of it. If you wanted to talk about those, I can query those, pick them up for you.
If you could, please.
Yeah, so just out ahead of the storm, so I'll bring the storm up on the map, then I'll go back to our severe wind tracker and picking up some radar wind speeds close to that 70-mile-per-hour mark. Some of these may be a little bit high, but a lot of them consistently in that 65 to 70-mile-per-hour range.
And I wonder, Emily, it's possible that if this storm is on a slight weakening trend, maybe the updraft's kind of collapsing a little bit, pushing those downdraft winds out. So that's what we could be seeing here. And that could mean one of two things. We're transitioning away from a hail threat and heading more toward a wind threat as it moves into parts of Douglas County. Emily Roller there tracking the wind speeds with this severe thunderstorm. Again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Saunders, Douglas, and Washington County until 3:15. And this is a very, very busy time of day. That's why we're jumping on here. We're giving you the first alert to this storm as it moves into the Omaha metro. If you are watching us from, say, Millard, downtown Omaha, if you're watching us from the Dundee area, this is staying off to your north. This is not your concern at the moment. This is mainly going to be in northwestern parts of Douglas County. If you're in Waterloo, if you're in Valley, if you're in Utan, if you're in Meade, if you're in Bennington and Elkhorn, you need to be aware of this storm moving off to the northeast at about 35 miles an hour. Once again, here's a track and the arrival times, latest arrival times with this storm. Valley, 2:33. Elk City, 2:43. Bennington, 2:52. And Blair at 2:58. So you can see the cone kind of taking it north of Elkhorn, but it's still going to hit some populated areas during a time where a lot of people might be on the road. So these are what you need to, this is the arrival time for what you need to know. And what can you expect? You can expect, as we just showed you, potentially wind gusts between 60, 70 miles an hour. It has had the potential to produce quarter to $half size hail. That's damaging hail as it moves through. The hail core is still relatively small.
And we do have an update on the hail size. We got some reports in from Wahoo, 1-inch hail.
1-inch hail in Wahoo. And that's exactly what we are seeing on the DOT camera there. So if you are north of Meade, heading toward Valley, Waterloo, that's what you can expect. Even though the radar is not really showing the hail potential the best. Radars might be underestimating the hail size on this, but if we had reports not that long ago, back toward Wahoo, you can see just about 10 miles down to the southwest, it was producing 1-inch hail. And it could still, as it crosses over the Platte River, it could still strengthen a little bit. These storms like to cycle. So this is probably a small weakening trend. Good news for the people kind of west of the Platte River in Saunders County. But in Douglas County, again, toward Highway 275, this is just south of Reichmuth Road. This is heading right toward the National Weather Service in Valley. So we're going to get even more information about what this storm is doing because there are a lot of trained eyes that are going to be seeing it very closely here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. I'll zoom out, give you a full view of the metro, put it on a loop, and you can kind of see this went right through Wahoo. It's moving off to the north and east, Valley, Waterloo, Bennington, north side of Elkhorn. That's where we have the potential to see the hail and the strong winds with this. Let's put it live. Let's turn on the lightning mode. Not as much lightning. I told you lightning shows a stronger thunderstorm. It shows that we're getting the potential for hail, heavy rainfall. Not as much lightning as what we saw just about 5 minutes ago. So hopefully this continues a slight weakening trend. It's not producing the severe hail, the strongest winds, and the heaviest rainfall as it starts to move into the most populated areas. Let's turn on that hail mode once again, zoom back in. Probably should get another radar scan here in the next couple of minutes. And at the moment, it's not doing much. The hail's not looking the best with this, but it still has. If I switch over to the classic radar mode, those pinks, the purples, the dark reds, that's the heavy rainfall and the potential for a little bit of hail. Even though this will say debris detection, it's also a way the radar sees things of different sizes. It's a way that we can pick up potentially a little bit of hail. And you see right there along Highway 77, it's kind of outside of that. So we're not seeing the radar picking up on things of much different sizes. So that could just mean that it's transitioning more toward at least rain and wind at this point. And there's those wind speeds. As Emily was showing us, these could be winds between about 60 and 70 miles an hour heading toward Highway 275, heading toward the radar site in Valley. So we might get kind of a little donut hole effect. You can see that here. You might lose some data, but this is still a pretty strong thunderstorm as it moves over parts of the Omaha metro. I'll zoom out. I'll put it on a big loop. If you're watching us from anywhere else across eastern Nebraska and western Iowa, we still have the potential to see some storms later on this afternoon. You see scattered showers and thunderstorms, not severe, north of the Platte River in Nebraska. And as you head into western Iowa, more scattered rain showers right along I-80. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch. This goes until 7 o'clock tonight. Really, the best window in the Omaha metro is going to be within the next couple of hours. Unfortunately, school pickup time, people coming back from work. Yes, that's what we're going to have to deal with, the potential for more storms to pop up as we have a boundary draped along I-80. Low pressure moving up from the south. So this severe thunderstorm watch goes until 7 o'clock. In Omaha, as I mentioned, we have the storms over us right now. Let's put this on a loop. They've been moving pretty steadily off to the north and east at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. So the good news for us is that this line of these few storms that are pushing through will be early this afternoon. If you have late afternoon, if you have early evening plans, these should start to clear out. But western Iowa, you could still have the potential for some severe storms, even as we go through about 6, possibly as late as 7 o'clock this evening. All right, let's zoom back in here. On this severe thunderstorm warning that, again, is for northwest Douglas County, southern Washington County, and far eastern Saunders County now until 3:15. We're kind of seeing that radar data get a little bit fuzzy. We're not seeing the best data as it moves right over the radar site and valley, but you can see that we're still getting a lot of heavy rainfall, now right over Highway 275. Let's zoom in even more. Let's pick up some of the roads that this is crossing over Highway 275. There's Highway 36 right over, pardon me, extra tap there. Right over the Mercer area, kind of that bend in 275 in Valley, or after you get out of the Valley area, where you kind of got to slow down on that sharp curve. That's anywhere north of there is where we're seeing the very heavy rainfall. So we got the baseball, the soccer fields there near Valley, the Loves near Valley, getting a lot of very heavy rainfall. That's what we're going to be seeing. The potential for hail, once again, positive sign here. We're not cheering for the storm to produce severe hail. It has produced severe hail over the last half hour. That's why we have the warning. Radar's saying pea-sized hail maybe? I'd be okay with that. That would be great if we continue to see that weakening trend. Here's the lightning. Well, we're seeing fewer lightning strikes with this too as it moves toward the National Weather Service. There's a new radar scan going through. I keep checking any other messages from Weather Service chat that I haven't seen.
Not that I have noticed any come in. Just a delayed report out of Butler County, but that is pretty old at this point.
Yeah, that's Butler County. Even farther, I got to zoom out even more. So it's made that steady progress off to the northwest. We saw plenty of hail reports right along that Butler Seward County line through Wahoo. Thankfully, again, there's a lot more people there. As you start to get closer to Valley over the Fremont area, we're not getting as many reports of hail as it starts moving closer toward the Omaha metro. But we still have that warning. Goes until 3:15, so we're going to stay with this until this warning expires, or we start to see the storm weaken past the point where we're concerned that we could get the potential for those strong winds and the hail. Right now, that storm is over Highway 275. Yeah, a lot of people probably going to be a slow go there on Highway 275. Let's get some more arrival times here as it moves off to the north and east at 35 miles an hour. So this takes you all the way to the Missouri River. So Elk City, Waterloo, 241, 251 in Bennington. That feels a little slow, to be honest with you, as I look at my watch to see 226. But this is where it's moving. It's moving north and east at about 35 miles an hour. So I would say, honestly, it's kind of over Valley and Waterloo right now. Bennington proper, a little bit closer to 680. That might be what it's picking up on and saying a little closer to maybe 245, 250. But notice the size of this. Look at this. If I zoom out and put this on a loop, you see how we had a lot more of those purples, the dark reds, as it was south and west of Wahoo. As it heads toward the radar site, yes, we're losing a little bit of radar data, but the size of those reds, the size of the purples, are starting to condense. Something that might help this, there was a stronger thunderstorm that moved over kind of north of Omaha late this morning and early this afternoon. That kind of sucks up some of the energy available for these storms. Once they move north of Omaha, we could still see maybe some produce hail and gusty winds, but they're not rooted in the ground. Anytime you have thunderstorms that start at the surface and grow from there, if they have a surface boundary to tap into, that's where we can get the strongest thunderstorms with the biggest hail, the strongest winds, and even the tornado potential. We're not seeing that as we move farther to the north. Here's the live radar. Again, we're going to lose a little bit of radar data coming in here. But that storm just getting over, there's the Elkhorn River there, right along Fort. It's going to go right over Fort, between Fort and Maple in Valley right now. Yeah, we're waiting to see what the Weather Service is saying. Emily, did they respond to you in chat yet?
No, they have not. Nothing coming down at the moment. Bulk of the core is sliding just to our north, which is what I wanted to ask you about. I noticed on the last few passes, it does seem to be pulling a bit more to the north. So maybe some of the communities that are in the warning right now, not going to be impacted. We could probably talk about that change in track just a little bit. I think a lot of Elkhorn going to miss out on this. Yep. Portions of Bennington may not see much either as this kind of pulls a little bit more north, as long as it stays on that track. Yeah, it's really hugging kind of, you see if you split the warning right down the middle, hugging the northern part of this warning. So if you're closer to, Maple and maybe as far north as Fort, yeah, you're not going to see the worst side of the storm as it continues to move off to the east. Maybe an early heads up to Arlington, though. They're not included in the warning. I think maybe if they reissue this, they could be. Absolutely. I have a feeling that even up toward Blair, you got to get a first alert to this too. If it continues hugging kind of this northern track, it's going to be between Arlington, Kennard, and Blair, so kind of more toward the Highway 30 corridor as it moves into southern Washington County. Good news there that we could see the hail potential miss some of the most populated areas. If I zoom out, put it on a loop so you can kind of see what we're talking about here. See how it's coming through Wahoo. That hail core goes right toward Valley, toward the radar site there, and then starts to kind of hug that yellow line off to the north. So again, great news that's kind of missing the most populated areas in the Omaha Metro. It could still cause some issues here, especially right over Highway 275, over Fort Street, getting up toward Blair as well. That's where we have the heaviest rainfall right now. I'll zoom in and kind of pick up on some more of those streets. I know it kind of gets a little more rural. Was that an updated warning? It looked like a new warning. It does. It is a new warning. Okay. They reissued that, pulling more north like we were just talking about. Yeah. Let's see. Let's zoom out here. Let's get the new warning in picture. So there's the new severe thunderstorm warning. 3:15 still. And they've changed the speed to 30 miles per hour if you're going to do a new storm track on it. So it is getting a little bit slower here. It might be probably kind of weakening a little bit. The updraft's collapsing. That's why we're seeing more of a wind as opposed to a hail issue here. You see wind speeds are still less than 50 miles an hour. The hail size still observed, so we're still getting reports of 1-inch hail out of this storm as it moves into far northwest Douglas County. Let's get a new track on there. And again, moving to the north and east at about 30 miles an hour. There we go. So it'll be near Washington, 251, Kennard at 256, and then Blair, again, kind of on the absolute northern edge. Blair's not officially in the warning, but depending on how much it wants to kind of hug that northern line of the warning, it would be in Blair by 3:08. So again, let's kind of reset here and give you a big picture of everything as this continues to move off to the northeast. We've been tracking this as it's moved across eastern Nebraska the last couple of hours. Jumped in to give you that first alert for the severe thunderstorm warning. That included
Douglas County includes the northwest part of the Omaha Metro that goes until 3:15. It does continue, but as you can see, look how Elkhorn, even more parts of Bennington, kind of getting shaved out of this warning. So it's really not going to have the biggest impact on Omaha proper. Great news for people who might be heading out this afternoon, just about ready to pick the kids up from the bus stop maybe. You don't have to be too concerned about that across most of the Omaha Metro, but it is really in parts of far northwest, Elkhorn toward Valley and Waterloo getting it right now, heading toward Arlington and Elk City. So again, there's the donut hole from the radar. We lose a little bit of radar data as the storm moves closer to that radar site in Valley, but we still have some very, very good data coming in from the north side of it. You can see the wind gusts here. Emily, I like the wind detection you had back there. You want to take a look at some of those winds, see if we're starting to see this transition more from hail, because honestly, the hail on the radar, not looking the best. Still a ½ inch, at least is what the radar is telling us. Some reports of about 1 inch hail with this. Weather Service agrees that, yeah, it's starting to gradually weaken, and kind of like what I said, the outflow from the previous storm off to our north, a little more stable environment that it's moving into right now. It had a little more energy to work with dew points in the 60s just down to the south, but as it kind of veers more north, we're not seeing that energy that it had before.
Yeah, I can definitely pull up the wind here. If we
Let's
can
take
pull
a look
up
at that.
My weather computer, there we go. Out ahead of the storm, picking up a few spots close to about 50, 55 mile per hour outflow. It's not as intense as it was before. I'm getting a couple of readings a little closer as of this latest radar pass, closer to that 60 mile per hour mark, pretty far ahead of it, in between Elk City and Kennard. But otherwise, I think the strongest gust we observed as it was approaching the metro, no longer in that 60 to 70 mile per hour ballpark. Those are kind of now 60 mile per hour is kind of the top end reading that I'm getting.
Yeah, and that's, again, great news that we're starting to see this weekend. Emily, thank you so much. We're not seeing the hail potential out of this. We're still hearing a lot of lightning. We're still getting maybe some small, at least non-severe hail getting picked up by the radar, but we're staying with this. We have this severe thunderstorm warning until 3:15, and we want to make sure, because people are coming back from work, they're coming back from errands. Maybe they don't have the First Alert 6 mobile app, and they didn't know that we had a severe thunderstorm watch and a severe thunderstorm warning that popped up. So here's all the information that you need. We have the severe thunderstorm warning right now for far northwest Douglas County, southern Washington County until 3:15. This is moving to the northeast at about 35 miles an hour. 1 inch hail possible, wind gusts, maybe as you were seeing with Emily, as Emily was just showing us, 50 to 60 miles an hour on the high side, but it has had a history of producing hail. Let's put this on a loop. You can see it came through. I'll zoom out a little more so you can see the full loop here. South of David City, went right through Wahoo. It looks like most of the hail reports we're going to get from this are going to be from the Wahoo area. And then notice, we go from purple, even a little fleck of white here on the radar near Wahoo. And we're not seeing that as much as it moves toward the radar site, as it moves toward the Omaha Metro. Live radar, let's zoom in. It's going right over the Elkhorn River. Let's get some of the roads there. Yeah, right over the Elkhorn River in Valley. There's 225th Street, Highway 30 in Arlington, kind of right between Fort and Highway 30 there. It's cleared Reichmuth Road, just about to Elk City and Washington. So that's where we have the potential for the hail and the strongest winds right now. So you can kind of go the far, far north side of Bennington could see some gusty winds and some hail out of this. Washington, Kennard, eventually maybe the south side of Blair and toward Fort Calhoun. So great news there that we're not going to see this impact a significant portion of the Omaha Metro. Now it still could produce a lot of heavy rainfall. Here are the 1 hour rain rates with this, and let's be real, any type of rain that we see across eastern Nebraska, we will absolutely take it right now. We absolutely do not need the hail, but this is pretty good. You got something, Bo?
reports just from the northwest of the valley, just under an inch size hail being reported.
Just under,
3/4 of an inch.
you say 3/4 of an inch? Okay, so about penny, maybe nickel-sized hail along with that. As far as rain goes, look at that, over an inch of rain with this storm just in an hour. Now, it might be estimating on the higher side because of that hail potential, but we do have, again, more reports of, right around that severe hail across parts of northwest Douglas County that is moving in between Valley and Fremont right now. It's getting just to about the Arlington area. And you notice how it's kind of getting outside of the warning box. So even though you're not included in the warning, if you're in Blair right now, first alert to some heavy rainfall, maybe some gusty winds coming in here through about 3 o'clock. And then this should clear out into Iowa. Once again, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect for a good portion of the First Alert 6 viewing area. It does include the Omaha Metro, goes into western Iowa. This is through 7 o'clock. But if you look at the radar here, this is probably going to be our best shot at it in Omaha. There's still a few more storms off to our west. You can kind of see a second line trying to develop out here from Norfolk down toward Grand Island. But we're using a lot of the energy up around the Omaha Metro. The storm off to the north earlier this afternoon, it also kind of ate up a lot of the energy. So in the northern parts of the viewing area, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning in parts of Washington County, but you get farther north of that toward the Cumming, Dodge County line heading toward Tacoma. I'm not too concerned about these storms growing and becoming intense, even though you are included in that severe thunderstorm watch. What went through earlier this morning, this storm right now, it's kind of shutting off all that moisture available for severe storms. But we have the severe thunderstorm warning that continues until 3:15 across northern parts of the metro, and that's why we're staying with it. And you can see on the latest radar scan, we're seeing even less in the way of the purples and the reds. Yeah, the hail with this really not looking like too much.
Yeah, they have a new note in from the National Weather Service office. They're keeping a close eye on it. They have been observing that it's been weakening, but they are watching a new updraft trying to intensify it a little bit on its eastern flank. So they're going to watch it for the next few minutes, see how that holds together. And I think that's going to have a big influence on whether or not they continue this warning.
Yeah, meteorologist Emily Roller there. Thank you so much, Emily. And yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to stay with this storm until it doesn't pose an impact to the Omaha Metro. But as you can see, it's been on a weakening trend. It's starting to cycle again. I mentioned that toward the start of our coverage. It was really strong around the Butler-Seward County line, pulsed up, produced a lot of hail around the Wahoo area, and then kind of weakened a little bit as it moved toward Valley, but still producing some very heavy rainfall, lots of lightning, and some gusty winds as it kind of collapses on itself, moving toward the north and east. Let's get some arrival times on this. This is probably the strongest part of the storm. And again, I'll hug the northern edge of this line a little bit. I have to make that go a little bit faster. My apologies there. There we go. This is moving off to the northeast, so at about 30 miles an hour. So if I include, kind of being generous with this on the northern side, I'll move this down here. 255 in Kennard, so that's still about 10 minutes away. Right along Highway 30 there. It's between Arlington and Kennard right now. If you're in Blair, that time is held pretty consistent. About 3:05 to 3:10 is where you could see the potential for gusty winds, hail, and some heavy rainfall. And Fort Calhoun, it'll be closer to 3:10, and then crossing over into Modale by about 3:23, crossing into western Iowa. But the worst part of this storm right now, just south of Arlington and basically between Arlington and Fort Street. Bo, you got something?
Pea-sized hail reported southeast of Arlington.
Pea-sized hail southeast of Arlington. Thank you very much. So again, that is this part of the storm. And that's honestly the most intense part of the storm. If it's only producing pea-sized hail, that's great news because it had been producing some much larger hail earlier on. So you can see that's right over County Road 38, 225th and County Road 38.
I do want to clarify on that update.
Go ahead.
Pea-size hail and larger.
Pea-size hail and larger.
They did not clarify how big the larger was. National Weather Service is trying to get that number from that report.
Gotcha. Specificity, always appreciated. And as a reminder, as we get into severe weather season, marble-sized hail doesn't help because marble can be any number of sizes. So kind of go standard size. If you can measure it with a ruler, greatly appreciated. If you have any pictures of the hail that's fallen, if you say you live in the valley area, you live toward Arlington, and you saw a bunch of hail fall with this storm, if you have any pictures, you can go to the First Alert 6 app. You can send us those pictures, send us the video. Let us know what you're seeing with this storm as it moves through. Helps us give a better idea of what to expect for people as it moves farther to the north and east. For people in maybe the north side of Bennington, toward Blair, toward Fort Calhoun with this severe thunderstorm. If I go to the metro view, you can see most of the Omaha metro not included in this. If you have a weather radio, very good, good on you. And the weather radio went off because of this thunderstorm warning in Douglas County. Just about out of Douglas County. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few minutes here we see Douglas County trimmed out of that warning. And if it does, we'll go back to regular programming here and reset for the 3. But we're going to stay with this as long as Douglas County is in this severe thunderstorm warning. Zooming in here, it's barely hanging on. So I have a feeling the Weather Service is going to trim this down, might even drop it early because I can't imagine this going until 3:15 on its current state. But if you are in Blair, Fort Calhoun, you could still see some pea-sized hail, maybe some very gusty winds and heavy rainfall coming up here between now and about 3:05, 3:10, and then it should move into western Iowa. Here's a loop here to kind of show you where this storm is moving. Came out of the Wahoo area, went right through Valley, and now kind of weakening as it moves off to the north and east. Let's turn on the lightning, see if we're seeing much. So I'm only seeing 2 lightning strikes out of this. And what that means is that this storm is definitely weakening. You can see it. There's not as much purple. We're not seeing the intense pink and even black showing up on radar like we had earlier. That's indicative of some hail. And when you have less lightning like that, yeah, that is a weakening trend. Hail's a good indicator, or lightning's a good indicator of where the hail is being produced. All right, there's the new warning. Let's get some information on that. New severe thunderstorm warning, still going until 3:15, but as you can see, it includes only southern Washington County. So Kennard, Fort Calhoun, Blair still not in the warning officially. So I'll put a track on this and kind of reset and wrap things up here since it's no longer posing a threat to Douglas County. And honestly, even if you're included in this warning, you don't have to go run outside and put the car in the garage or anything like that. We still have the potential for maybe ½ to 1 inch hail, but it looks like we're transitioning toward more heavy rain and maybe some gusty winds with this. Bo, I saw you nod your head. The speed on this, is it still 30 miles an hour?
I'm pretty sure yes.
Double check that, please.
Yes.
Because this has been moving, as it's weakened, it's slowed down a little bit. As it was coming out of Saunders County, it was moving at 40 miles an hour. They updated the warning, it was moving at 35 miles an hour, then 30. And I would expect it
35.
Still at 35, okay. So let's put a track on this as it moves off to the north and east at about 35-ish miles an hour. So again, here's your first alert to Kennard. You got about 8 minutes until that hail core is over you. The potential for, again, ½ to 1 inch hail, maybe some 50-mile-an-hour winds with this. Blair, south side of Blair, 305, maybe just north of Fort Calhoun around that time as well. Modale getting into western Iowa at 319. Missouri Valley, 325. Again, that's outside of the warning, but that's your first alert to potentially some lightning and some very heavy rainfall. So I'll reset here. Show you this. The reason why we've been on for the last about half an hour, 40 minutes or so, is because we have this severe thunderstorm warning. It is now out of Douglas County. It's in southern Washington County. At the time, we haven't had too many reports of more than ½ inch up to 1 inch hail. So the hail potential is definitely lessening with this, and the heavy rainfall kind of shrinking a little bit. So we have all four of us back here. We have me, Emily Roller, Bo Fogel, and Jade Steffens. We'll be tracking this thunderstorm, getting ready for 3 o'clock. If we have any additional warnings that get close to the Omaha Metro, or if we start getting more hail reports out of this as it moves toward Fort Calhoun and Blair, we'll cut in here. But for now, we'll send you back to regular programming.
Live from WOWT, this is a First Alert 6 weather day.
And good afternoon, everyone. Nick Weig here back at the Alert Center as our on-air coverage has wrapped up, as the severe thunderstorm warning has now expired for Douglas County. We are back here now in the Alert Center as we continue to track this severe thunderstorm as is pushing just north of the metro right now. Let's go ahead and take you out live now to First Alert Radar. There you see the thunderstorms and the trail of hail reports over almost running parallel from the storm earlier this morning that went through Schuler, North Bend, Tacoma, and now this storm that has made its way through Wahoo and up north of Elkhorn. Severe thunderstorm warning has expired, and I believe they may have canceled this outright. It looks like they have canceled this, so that was the last warning in our area. We do still, however, have a severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect until 7 o'clock this evening for the counties shaded in yellow. We're also keeping an eye out right now. The Storm Prediction Center a short time ago issued what they call a mesoscale discussion about the potential of a tornadic development south and east of the metro area. So areas especially east of Shenandoah and Red Oak, there is the potential for a tornado watch to be issued. Again, this would be for areas south and east of the existing thunderstorm watch, where we could see, especially over near Nebraska City up towards Atlantic, we could see a tornado watch be issued here shortly. So we're keeping an eye out for that. That is expected to happen sometime soon as a cold front is moving through the area now and is approaching the metro area. So as we zoom back out here, the formerly warned cell, now bearing down on Blair, has weakened considerably as it's pushed north of the metro area, and after several hours now finally appears to be running out of steam. The hail core now almost non-existent. No real threat of this producing any large hail at this time. We have certainly seen our share of it throughout the morning and the afternoon here in Nebraska and Iowa. Just give you one example, and I apologize that this is sideways, but this was a look at some of the hail that fell in Dunlap today with the severe thunderstorm that moved through that area. This courtesy of Lisa McIntosh. Lisa, thanks for sending us the photo. So it's just some of the large hail that's fallen across the area today as these severe thunderstorms have moved through. But again, right now, the good news is all of the warnings have now expired. And what was our severe thunderstorm warned storm now over by Kennard heading for Blair. Right now just producing some torrential downpours and some lightning. No indication of a hail core existing anymore in this storm system. But we do still have this severe thunderstorm watch for now, remains in effect until 7 o'clock this evening as we continue to monitor the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms across the area. Lightning has really eased off on that cell, but if you look at what's happening just east of our viewing area and stretching back into the southwest Iowa, there is a potential for some additional development in southwest Iowa, and that's why the Storm Prediction Center is monitoring that area for a possible tornado watch. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little further. There you see the severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect. You see the freeze watch that's in effect for central Nebraska, but the concern now turning away from Nebraska and now turning towards the far southeastern portion of our viewing area. We see some light showers beginning to develop, and this is an area that the Storm Prediction Center is concerned is quite ripe for severe thunderstorm development. So this area right here is where they're looking. I didn't draw that very well, so I'm going to try that again. This area right here is where they're looking for the potential of some additional thunderstorm development to take place over the next couple of hours. And so we could see some of our counties, especially in southwest Iowa, northwest Missouri, placed under a tornado watch here in the not too distant future. That is the area the Storm Prediction Center is monitoring now. Things in our area largely stabilizing. That is the good news. However, the threat does still exist for portions of the severe thunderstorm watch. But we are also watching these storms move along a cold front, and that is going to bring a real change across the area as we continue into your Wednesday evening and into your Thursday. So that is the latest information we have right now. I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to keep the radar up for you and monitor whether this watch gets issued for parts of our viewing area or if a new warning is issued for any of these storm systems. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave the radar up, and we will be back with you in just a moment.